More frequent rotations of cargo planes between Russia and the Russian airbase at Khmeimim, as well as columns of Russian army vehicles moving along the roads, suggest that a start is being made on evacuating Russian military installations in Russia in the wake of the fall of Bashar al-Assad's regime. But it will not be easy for Russia to evacuate its military personnel, as well as a large amount of weapons and equipment deployed in different parts of the country from Syria. A large Russian military contingent remains in Syria. At the beginning of 2024, its number, according to indirect evidence, was about 7.5 thousand people, writes the BBC. Russia operates the Tartus naval base in Khmeimim Air Base, the other military facilities in the country. In 2017, Moscow and Damascus signed an agreement on the use of bases in Tartus and Khmeimim for a period of 49 years until 2066. However, now it is difficult to say whether Russia will retain them at all. The journalists note, adding that the Russian leadership has also made it clear that there are no plans to use them and their fate is to be discussed with the new authorities in Damascus. At the same time, the bases in Tartus and Khmeimim are not the only facilities where Russian military personnel are present. Journalists also emphasize that if the information previously published in the media is confirmed and the Russian command has contacted the Turkish command to agree on assistance in withdrawing troops, this will help evacuate Russian troops from the remote areas of Syria, but not from all of them. In some areas where there are Russian troops, there is no Turkish presence at all. In order to withdraw troops to Tartus or Khmeimim, from where they could then be evacuated to Russia, it will be necessary to negotiate with a wide variety of forces, the publication says. A certain amount of tension has been hovering around the Khmeimim and Tartus bases, as the Telegram channel Dva Mayora, which is close to the Russian army, reported. We have received information that militants from the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham intend to test the defenses of our Khmeimim base. Light camouflage measures, lights out, have been taken and personnel have taken up positions, he said. Evacuating the Russian military contingent directly from Syria will also not be easy. In addition to 7.5 thousand people, it includes a large number of weapons and military equipment, including armored vehicles and anti-aircraft missile systems. If the Russian Federation begins an urgent evacuation from Khmeimim, this may require hundreds of AN-124 and IL-76 flights in a very short time. The water route via the naval base in Tartus is no simpler either. Ships will not be able to pass through the Turkish Bosphorus and Dardanelles Straits into the Black Sea.
A car was torched and houses were graffitied with anti-Israel slogans in Sydney on Wednesday after federal police established a task force to investigate increasing incidents of anti-Semitic crime across Australia. Police said they were searching for two people aged between 15 and 20 years who were suspected behind the attacks in the eastern suburb of Woolera, which has Australia's largest Jewish community. The suspects were seen wearing face coverings and dark clothing, a police statement said. Kelly Sloan, New South Wales local member of Parliament, said there was a lot of emotion and anger in the community. Waking up to yet another attack in Woolera after what seems to be a sustained attack by people that are seeking to divide this community and intimidate it. An arson attack on a Melbourne synagogue last week was an escalation in targeted attacks in Australia since the war began between Israel and Hamas last year. Cars and buildings had previously been vandalized and torched around Australia in protests inspired by the war. The blaze at the Adass Israel synagogue was this week declared a terrorist attack, which increases the resources and information available to investigators. Australian Federal Police announced this week the formation of Special Operation Avalite to target anti-Semitism around the country.
My reaction was initially one of anger and being scared, but I'm not going to let that happen. And it's time for us to be able to step up, and our politicians to actually, and police force to do, to really act in the right way and bring the perpetrators of the law to justice. We need to be safe in our country. Australia is known to be welcoming to everyone. I'm a proud Jew, Orthodox Jew, practicing Jew, wear a kippah. I'm not going to let any sort of potential emotion get the better of me, and I will not stop feeling safe in my area, because at the end of the day, if I do not feel safe, then they've won the war, so to speak.
A lot of emotion this morning, a lot of anger in the community, waking up to yet another attack in Wallara after what seems to be a sustained attack by people that are seeking to divide this community and intimidate it. People are upset not just because of what happened last night, but because this is part of a sustained attack on this community. So I've been speaking to people who are very upset, who are in tears, and on the other hand, people who are expressing, white hot anger that this is allowed to happen in this country, in this neighbourhood, to people who are just trying to get on with their lives peacefully. People are saying the right thing, and words are important, but we need more than words right now. We need concrete action by state and federal governments to nip this in the bud. History shows us that if you walk past this kind of behaviour, if you let it fester, then it becomes, evil breeds, and we can't allow that to happen. People are saying to me, this is not the Australia they grew up in. People in this street have said to me they've never experienced anti-Semitism, but something has changed in the last 18 months. It needs to be addressed.
Slogans for this part of the division, and on the side of the police,